So you just gonna keep the mug up at the joint?
I'm promoting for Lee. I just purchased these mugs. Actually came today, and I wanted people to see the other one. It says self-care extraordinaire.
Self-care extraordinaire.
Yes, I don't know how to do all
perfect.
this pinning stuff, so I would pin her, but yeah, exactly. Who said that? Yes,
Me.
fireside chat. Yes, Bruce, you see him.
Hey man, you know how I do.
So irking.
You know how to...
Everybody, hello. This is Friday Night Live with LNW Interior Concept, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, Daren Hardimon. That's how he says his name, Hardimon, so hard. So I'm gonna wait till we get a couple more eyeballs in here. Hey everybody, hey Nick, hey Eye Candy, hello everyone. My daughter's Chloe's over here hating. She's over here.
Nobody's hating.
You know that's my girl over there.
Relax.
Chloe.
Hey April. Hey E. All right. So hey Kenny Cole. Hey Shay, the domestic diva. Hi everybody. So let's get straight into it. So I'm gonna talk about how I met Daren. So Daren was dating my sister's girlfriend, who's now his fiance. So kudos to you. You know, you wore her down. You got her. And I heard about Daren from my sister because she was dating Venetia, dating Birdie. And she was like, Birdie's dating this guy who does real estate. And I was like, well, what's his name? Because at the time, I had been doing a lot of staging for Lux. And I had never heard of you. I was going into a lot of, you know, places, meeting different people. But for real, I didn't even really know a lot of Black guys who were flipping, a lot of Black people in real estate. I mean, people did try to like do business with me before I even had my own company. You know, our own community, the Black real estate community in the city, but it was still so many people I hadn't met. So my sister, my sister told me about Daren. It's this guy, you know, he's into real estate. I'm like, I never heard of him. I don't know. If I haven't heard of him, it ain't official.
Somebody at first. And that's
right. Cool. And I can't hear you. Do you have your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi's on. You can't hear me at all?
Yeah, turn your phone up. We got to get this rich up. This is not Teddy and Babyface, okay?
Oh, shit.
You know he's in that area with their Wi-Fi's a little crazy, but I'm doing the talking. And once we'll see how you do. So then Plumber Keith, I don't know if Keith is in here. He said, he mentioned Daren because he was doing G1 with you. And he said, Nick, he said, you know, I want you to meet this guy. You know, he's doing the, you know, new construction, blah, blah, blah. Then finally we met. And I have to tell you guys, when I met Daren, I was pretty impressed. Not that he knew it. I just was really impressed about his passion for real estate. So I met him at his, was that your first new construction job?
Am I Teddy? Who said I was a Teddy? Can you hear me now?
That's what Nick said, you're Teddy. Was that your first new construction job?
That was the first new construction project that I ran on my own. My first new construction was in East Kensington on Leithgow Street. I had Streamline build it for me, though, because I didn't have the knowledge to build it on my own. So Germantown Avenue was my first new construction project that I managed and constructed by myself.
Right. So I met him then, and you know, he was saying he was building these luxury, you know, apartments and everything, and he wanted me to do the selections, and I was like, yes, luxury. When you say luxury, you know,
that's where I messed up.
That's where you messed up. So I started doing, so I did his bathrooms. Well, I just mainly did bathrooms and light selections. You already had your cabinets and countertops, so just mainly like just the bathrooms for real, and your lighting. And when I started sending Daren some of the lighting, he was like, you're bugging, you got to bring it down. And I didn't know. So it was my first time selecting for a developer, and I didn't think about all the things, you know, if it had to be replaced and, you know, the wear and tear. I was not thinking about all of that. He said luxury, so I was giving the man luxury.
Yeah,
so
you were just spending money.
So from there, I was telling him how I wanted to go into real estate. My sister and I, we wanted to do a couple of flips, and he said I can shadow him. And from there, I think I've been with you about every single day for the past 3 years, a thorn in
Yeah.
my side. So, so some of the things that drew me to Daren was when he talked about it, he was really meticulous about construction. And from me, like I said, already staging, I saw so many mistakes that other people who were in real estate had done. And it would just irritate me that they didn't take the time, they didn't care, then they were just putting anything out on the market, because I'm like, people are buying this stuff. So, when I saw how he moved, I saw how he used different trades for every single thing. He doesn't have one. I don't think anybody on your team does two things. They're just in their selected field. I
Yeah.
really liked that. I liked how, you know, how clean your sites were, and you know how it was boom, 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 boom. And just from talking to you, I was like, oh, he gets it. He gets it. And you know, we just talked about our passion, and we just became like bosom buddies. So I was like, okay, I think I can mess with him. I can bless him. You know, let me bless this man with this goodness I got to give.
I
So
appreciate
let
the
me just.
blessing.
So how did you start, Daren? How did you start in real estate?
So I got started in real estate after actually after my brother lost some money. So I was working as a probation officer, the daily grind, just being a grunt. And my brother was invested in the real estate market in Arizona really heavily. So he had like 7 or 8 properties out there. They were all big properties, $500,000 to $1 million more. And then the market crashed. So when the market crashed, he lost a ton of money. And I was just starting to get an interest in real estate at that time. This was when I first started getting an interest. It was like the beginning of 2008. So I came in right with the shits. The market went down later in 08, 09, and that made me want to help him get his money back. So in my vow to him, like, listen, I'm going to help you to get your money back. I'm going to learn this business. I'm going to get good at it. I'm going to help you to get back on top. From that, I became an agent. 2008, around the worst time, I was working for KW Center City. And in that time, I was just like hustling, trying to get buyers, trying to get sellers. They were abundant because there was a ton of foreclosures. There was a ton of property loss. But then just really kind of owning the craft and learning real estate in general. So during that time, I fell in love with it. I helped a decent amount of buyers. But then I started to see kind of the investor side of it, where I was at the table cashing checks and the investors were cashing even bigger checks. So I wanted a piece of that. So I kind of left the real estate alone on the sales side. I worked with some mentors and really started to build out how I was going to flip property. I was door knocking. I was like, you know, driving for dollars, riding around, looking at places that had high grass, high weeds, anything that signified to me that the property was in disrepair or nobody was taking care of it.
Right.
From that, I found this one guy. I did actually have one guy in the very beginning that did everything, Francisco. And I credit Francisco with teaching me development and construction. So he helped me out a whole lot. He taught me about managing the trades, how to manage them in terms of like from A to Z, not giving them money up front, not working with people that you have to give a deposit to, because a lot of times those people can hurt you, and just try how to protect me. So I started that way. I learned, and then I did whatever it took to get my flip.
Okay.
So
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Who educated you on the importance of, you know, the things that people can't see, what's behind the walls? Because, you know, even the stuff that not behind the walls, like I said, I mean, I've texted you pictures of when I was doing walkthroughs for staging, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
So that was Francisco. I mean, everything that goes behind the wall affects what's outside, what people see. So, you know, the lighting, the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC, you know, leaks and electrical problems, things that will affect your overall finished product, having to go back into the walls to fix mistakes. So he was very meticulous in, we got to do it right. We got to do it right the first time. And I think partially because he was at a set number too, right? So there wasn't a bunch of change orders with Francisco. It was just this is what the cost is, this is how much it's going to be, and it's going to be done in this amount of time. So he wasn't one to come back and have to fix anything. So he told me from the very first project, he was like, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through this project. We're going to do it the right way. I went to the house. The first house we did was, I think it was on Rugby Street, 7700 block of Rugby Street in Mount Airy. And I was there every single day with him. I lived right around the corner on Gilbert Street. I was at that site every day. He told me every single thing that I could know about flipping that house. And in giving me the information, the most important thing to him was the rough.
Right.
So the property was demoed, the rough was going in. He framed up the property, and it was the rough. It was, you know, the electric, plumbing, HVAC. We got to make sure that all these things are right, make sure that there's no issues and mistakes. And then from there, we can go in and close up the walls, insulation, all those things that come after. But they helped me to say, well, these things are far more important than what's on the outside. The outside is, you know, it's great, but if you got shit behind the walls, then you're not really going to have an awesome project.
Right. And then I just think, you know, for anybody who I think, so let me ask you something. Do you think most people are in real estate, like real estate development or like flipping? I'll say flipping because buying holds are just that, you know, you're doing it for residual income. But do you think people who flip, they're doing it because they love the construction, the whole process of it, or they just love the outcome, the money that comes out of it?
I think that, well, so that's a little hard to answer, but I do think that a lot of people are in it just for the money. When people come to me, and I don't do any mentoring or anything like that, but when people do come to me, the first thing from me is that if you're only doing this for the money, shadowing me is not going to help you. Like, I definitely do it for money, but I love the business. So anyone who's coming to me, if you're doing it solely for the money, it just doesn't work, because I'm going to spend a little more money, make a little less, but I'm going to put out a better product.
Right.
So that's my goal. If I won't live in it, I won't sell it.
Right.
So every single project that we go into, if I won't live there, I won't sell it.
Right.
That's just my motto, and that's why I do things the way I do. That's why we get the results that we do. So do I think that a lot of people are in it for the money? Absolutely. Because it looks on the forefront that we're killing it, that it's just a whole bunch of money and it's just a windfall at all times. That's not necessarily the case.
Right.
This business is blood, sweat, and tears. This business is tough. Sometimes while it looks like there's a ton of money, there may not be any money.
Right.
So there's a lot that comes with, you know, just building the business.
Right.
So it took me a long time to get to where I am today, and I'm still trying to grow immensely from here going forward. So some people are in it for the money. Some people are, you know, in it for the residual income, also just money.
Right.
But I think that a lot of people that I've met lately, a lot of the Black developers that I know and some that I just follow on Instagram that I haven't met, I think that they're in it for the long term. So they're in it for a portfolio. They're in it for the building of wealth. A lot of them are teaching, so they're in it to help others. So there's a plethora of reasons that people are in it. But the ones that are in it solely for money, I don't think they last very long.
Nick is crazy talking about something. All right, immensely. So, damn, and she made me forget my next question. God damn it. I forgot what I was going to say. Sheesh, you know y'all can't say too much because I get distracted. So, okay, so that's another thing. So my thinking is, you know, when I look at other people's projects, you know, I feel like I'm spoiled with you, I must say, because, you know, I've been in a lot of properties. I've been in hundreds and hundreds of properties in the city. And, you know, I will say that, you know, again, you do like a meticulous job. And my thinking would be when I do become an investor and do a couple of flips.
I can't wait.
Can you mentor me, Darren?
But my thinking would be, if you're in it for the money, even if you are in it for the money, that whenever a realtor sees that you have a project coming, they'll have people lined up for you because they know you're going to just have a good project out. So that's why I don't understand when some of these people do these projects, why they're not thinking about their name, the brand, you know.
I mean, it's budget. And I think that, I mean, the biggest thing for all of us is like, it's American greed, right? We all want to make as much money as we can in as little time as possible. So going into a project, knowing that you can make, you know, $85,000 as opposed to making 70 or 65 from just doing things a little bit better and taking a little more time and being a little more meticulous, everybody wants the 80 over the 65, right? So I don't think that you go for the 80 every time. I think that what people should be doing is turning up the volume of properties that they're doing. So I may lose that 15,000 on each property, but I gain that money back in marketing time and the properties that we do, the properties we complete, and not having it on the market for a very long time. I mean, to date, we haven't had a property. We had one property, Lincoln Drive. We had a little bit of a tough time there. It was on the market for like 28 or 30 days or something like that. But every other property has been 17 days or less with, I mean, our best selling property went on the market and off the market in like 4 hours. So we put out a decent product. I mean, we get the pictures taken. We always have some help with staging and things like that from you. But a lot of it is just putting out something that people know that they can trust. The broker that we work with, she trusts us. A lot of people trust her based on the product that we've been putting out, and we've been successful because of it.
Right. All right. So let me ask you, what do you think a designer can add to an investor's project or portfolio? Hint, hint.
I mean, well, see, prior to working with you, I hadn't worked with anybody. I thought that I knew it all, so I was just going with whatever the trend was. So working with the designer can definitely change just the overall look of a product in general. So, you know, we're putting out a lot of stuff that's just cookie cutter. We want to subway tile this. We want to make the floor simple. We want to just get it done. What a designer brings is it's an overall change in perspective for the developer, for the end user as well. So as a developer, when we're going in, I mean, all we look at is like the bottom line, right? I want to spend as little money. I'm doing a good job, but I want to make more, so I don't want to pay for a designer. But when we paid for a designer, what we've gotten was shorter times on market.
Why are you saying when you paid for a designer? When I work with you.
When you work with me as our designer, we've had shorter times on market. We've had, I mean, just a better overall experience from the open houses, from clients, from even agents. I think one of the best responses that I've gotten was Gilbert Street. Our Gilbert Street property that you did, we got comments from agents that was one of the best rehabs that they had ever seen. And one agent said it was the best rehab he has seen in like 15 years of being in a business selling at that price point. We were at $215,000, but our idea was that we're giving people the Fairmount and Center City feel at their price point. So wherever we go, we want to give them what they're looking for. A lot of people want to live the high life, but they can't truly afford it. So we're putting it in and giving it to them at cost, right? I made a little bit of money on that. No, I didn't make a little bit of. I made a decent amount of money.
I was about to say, boy, bye.
We made a decent amount of money on that project, but it was one of those things where the design sold it, and because at one point I thought that I was going to live there, I went overboard. A lot of the things that we did there, I won't be doing again.
Not at that price point, Daren. Not at that
price point. Yeah, unless the margins allow it, because it was an awesome project. I love that project. I would say it was my second favorite project, but
Lydia said, what was your first? You know it was Sherman Street.
Hey, Liz, you know what it is. My favorite project was Sherman Street. Sherman Street, I did it with no help. I thought that I was the designer, and it turned out to be a decent project. Probably more so because of the window. I think I could have done nothing else but the window.
Right.
An awesome project. But, I mean, I did the window there. I did an imported kitchen from Italy, which I had no idea what I was doing when I did it, but it worked out. It just turned out to be an overall great project. And on both projects, I'm happy to say we cleared 6 figures, so it wasn't a bad deal at all for either one.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like, so at what point, because I know when I did G1 with you and I did the bathroom selections, remember when you called me and you were like, this looks dumb. And I'm like, I was so scared, like, oh my God. And I went there, you didn't have any electricity in, no grout was in. And I went there and it made me second guess myself because, you know, I'm thinking, you know, Daren is more than, you know, I'm just
thinking that he's hot shit.
Yeah, thinking he's hot shit. And I'm like,
ain't all that. He hard.
And, you know, I was like, shit. And then, you know, once the grout came in, you were like, okay, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. And
Well,
then when you did Newkirk Street, I was there with the process. I helped pick the floors, you know, different things, the shelving and everything. But you were like, you didn't use me for staging for Lincoln Drive, and I think if I would have staged it, it would have been off this. It would have been
off the
off the
market
market
for sure. But you know, we made a crucial mistake in Lincoln Drive with that island. That joint was a little tight.
Right, and no closet.
We put up a coat rack.
Right, that's what made people know it wasn't a thing. So it wasn't a closet. So and then when I like, you know, you was like staging, he was talking big stuff about staging, guys. He was like, oh, the staging, oh, it's not going to be this, and oh, I don't know how you're going to do this, and oh, blah, blah, blah. And then I staged the Hizzle out of that place. And I think, is that when you really started trusting me? Because I know I had to earn your trust.
Well, when you did Newkirk, I mean, there was nothing more that I could say. Because in Newkirk, I didn't even understand how we could have a living, a dining, and kind of like that just open galley kitchen. I didn't know how it would work.
Right.
So when you came and you staged it, there was, I mean, after I got the response that I did from Germantown Avenue, I did trust you. But it was like, I'm not just going to I ain't just going to let the reins go. Just go ahead and do what you want. But after Newkirk, it was like, shit. It's really nothing that we can say. I had an idea. Bruce and I definitely had an idea of what we wanted to do there, but didn't really know what it was, right? So it was like, once it was done and people gave us the response that they did, and it sold so quickly, I was like, oh, well, she could pretty much do whatever she wants, aside from spending $40 a square foot on tile and going crazy. But other than that, it was like, oh, she knows what she's doing. You already had a lot of a following before we even worked on that project. So I saw a lot of your stuff and I liked it, but I hadn't actualized like the experience of making the money, right? The Germantown Avenue project was a rental. So I make money in rent, but I didn't sell it. With Newkirk, it was like, oh shit, like it happened quickly. And I think it sold mainly because of the pictures. And when people came into the property, the open house was phenomenal. When people came into the property, they saw all the separate living spaces in such a small space. It was like, oh yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Right.
This is the real deal.
So we said, I think
Nick wants to know why he uses colored doors.
Nick wants to know why you use the orange doors.
I just like orange. So when I initially started out with, the doors were going to be green, and 45 Bush beat me to it because I mean, shit, you got more money, you got more shit on the market. He had like green doors. It was like, well, green can't be it. Because I had initially my logo on my shirts and everything was green.
Right.
I switched it to orange because I didn't see a bunch of orange in the city. And then it just became a signature. I put it on Germantown Avenue. Dom was like against it. I used Dom the painter for Germantown Avenue. She was against the orange door, but she was like, shit, if you like it, I love it. Like, whatever you want, I'm here for a check. So she painted it orange, and I got a decent response from it. And from there, it's just been a signature. So I've been going with orange doors since then.
Right. So let's talk about, so we said, was that Sherman Street sold quicker than Newkirk, right?
Yeah, Sherman Street sold faster than Newkirk, but Newkirk sold in one day. The people that came out to Newkirk at the open house, the first people that came out, they came out, it was on the market with no electric, because remember, we had, I don't want to mention whose fault that was, but we had an issue where we had to do our open house with no electric. So the owners now, they came out to see the property. They came back the very next day when we had electric and made their offer. So I think we had electric the first day. My thought is that they would have, sold on the first day. But that sold quickly. Sherman Street was like, I posted it online. As soon as it went online, we had someone come through literally within like an hour of it being online. And then they made an offer and asked Dana to take it off the market. They were like, we'll give you a deposit. We want you to take it off the market. It's full price. We ain't fucking around. They had everything. And they were in a position because they had already had a property under contract. They fell out of contract based on home inspection. Everything was lined up. So when they came to us, they were like, we'll give you full price. I think I should have asked for a little bit more. But we'll give you full price. We'll do everything that you need. They gave us a decent deposit, and they said they could close in 30 days.
Right.
So that was literally like from the time they came to see it to the time their agent got us the offer, it was like 4 hours. It was done.
Right. So let's just talk about how we broke a record on Lime Kiln Pike.
Lime Kiln Pike was record breaking. That property was a surprise. It was bigger than we thought. It was in worse condition than we thought. And that was a project that you kind of did your own thing too. I had an idea. Again, me and Bruce always have an idea, but we just didn't know what the direction was. What we did know was we had to put together a decent project. So we gutted the entire project, put it back together, and then kind of left it in your hands in terms of kitchen. I mean, I laid out the kitchen, but you came with the tile, the backsplash, the kind of the metal shelving, everything that you put into that project worked. So we went in that project. We set a record. That one sold. That was at a higher price point. So that was like 17 days on the market.
Right.
And we killed it. The open house there, also a decent open house.
No, that open house was like that open house was open house for the records. I mean for the books.
That was definitely a party.
Right.
That was me trying to be Ryan Serhant from New York. From New York. That was me trying to be him. Like, listen, we gonna set this shit off. And it was a decent joint. But then again, I think every one of the projects that we do, we have some kind of issue. We didn't have any power in the basement.
Right.
We had power everywhere throughout the house. We didn't have power in the basement. And we had the same electrician talking about yo, do you think I could shut the power off for 15 minutes when we got 80 people in the house?
Right.
So one of those weird situations, but it turned out to be a great thing. So I think that when we set that record, we beat everything in West Oak Lane probably by like $30,000 or $40,000.
And how much did the house sell for?
The house sold for $270,000. I believe
roll home in West Oak Lane, y'all.
Yeah, I think it was 270. I could be wrong, but I think that was the number.
Right.
So,
and that kitchen is crazy on Pinterest. Like I've never posted that picture on my Pinterest account, and I always see that kitchen all over Pinterest. So it's crazy. So another thing I wanted to get into, I don't know if a lot of people know, but since Daren does such good work on the construction, not on the maintenance, I don't know how to say it, but you know that got you how long does it take you to complete a project on average?
So I mean, on average, it's hard. We're usually like 45 to 60 days. One of our fastest projects was 30 days from start to finish. I mean, we closed on one day. 30 days later, the property was listed on the market. That was the fastest. Typically, though, with the project we're doing right now, even like with everything slowing us down, we're probably going to be at like 45, 60 days during the pandemic once they let us open everything back up. And the biggest thing for me isn't just like I'm not good because I don't do anything, but the greatest part about me and what helps me to, get things done quickly is just scheduling. I actually think that I'm a pretty decent manager of people. I set my expectations and I make everyone live up to the expectation that they give me. Easy. And I think that's what works. So, I mean, Keith will tell you, I think he's definitely on here, but Keith was like, listen, I ain't working with you, bro. Like, look, I'm going to go ahead and let some of these projects pass just because the timeline is the timeline.
Right.
I want things done quickly. So the rough plumbing, the rough electric, the rough HVAC I want done in a week, but the guy I'm working with now, he'll get 3 apartments done in 3 days.
Right.
Everything's done right. Electric, we got a decent electrical crew where they're getting things done 3-4 days in and out from start to finish on their rough. Plumbing, we got a guy that's like a one-man show, and he's getting stuff done for us in 3-4 days, maybe a week. For him, 5 days, not 7 days, but 5 days for all of the rough plumbing to go in.
Right.
So from that point going forward, we're at a place where it's like we're killing it. So once those things are done, we hire an installation company. We're not getting our guys to just go in and do installation. We got an installation company that's coming out. Installation goes in, fire blocking, everything gets checked out. And the 30 days was with L&I coming out to check our project. So the big thing is, like I said, scheduling. So if you schedule everything and you just kind of plan it out, and trust that the people that you're working with are going to get it done, then you can get the timelines. But in that, it's like we hire people that are going to do the job, and we pay a little more money to make sure that they're going to get it done.
Right.
So I'm not saving money on, I could save $4,000 or $5,000 by getting it done and taking my time. I'm saving the $4,000 or $5,000 because our project is on the market in, say, 2 months, and it's sold in a month.
Right.
So in 4 months' time, with that 2 months and then the 45 days that it typically takes you to close a deal, we're done. We don't have those 6 or 7 months of mortgage payments. So it helps us out. So we make up the money every single time.
Somebody asked, how did you test your crew to know that they are tried and true?
I ain't giving them no money up front. No money up front. Listen, if you don't give people money up front, then they have to be tried and true. Like a person that comes to you and they're strong enough to start the project with no money, wait for the first draw, and then continue going, that's somebody that you can work with. Because you got to think, in my electrical, HVAC, and plumbing phase, I'm not giving any of those guys money.
But so, Daren, you're also having the materials on site too. A lot of people aren't having materials on site.
I mean, for the framing. So for framing, we supply material. For plumbing, we supply material. For electrical and HVAC, we do not supply material. They have to bring everything on their own. Okay. So for those things, and it's like, it's all based on the contractor's request. So if the framer comes in, he says, we need these things, and we're starting on Monday, he's got to give me a week, because I want to get all the material delivered first thing Monday morning. So when he gets there, his material's there. The first delivery is at 6:30 a.m. We get a delivery. He comes at 8. Materials on site. Property's already gutted. He can go right to work. If he wants money up front, I really don't see the purpose of it, because we're buying the material, and we do that to keep the cost down, to manage costs, because every person that's buying material, they should be putting a premium on it, right? If they're buying it for credit, if they're buying it with their own money, however they're buying it, they have to put a premium on it for basically for us borrowing their money to do that part of the project. For HVAC, electric, they do the same thing, but they get it done so quickly that it makes sense for us to just say, go ahead and do your thing, so I don't have to drive all the way up Grant or wherever to go to the supply house for HVAC, or I don't have to go to Billows for electric. I like to not be involved. I like to manage at a distance. I like to go to the job site, see what's going on, just to let them know that I'm present, that I'm here, but I don't really want to be involved with the project.
Right.
Uh-oh, somebody said, are you still taking rent from your tenants during the pandemic?
Somebody asked, are you still taking rent from your tenants during the pandemic?
Most certainly. Most certainly. I'm taking rent. Everybody who can pay, will pay, should pay. I haven't had an issue yet. Luckily for me, two of my tenants are essential workers. A lot of my tenants in another one of my buildings are Section 8 or SSI, SSD. So we've been getting rent. We haven't had any issue, but if we did have an issue or come across something, I would waive the late fee, but I'm most certainly not waiving rent payments. That's not me. That's not who I am. I don't think that that's great business, because the mortgage companies haven't waived my payment. So I haven't applied for any of the deferments or forbearances, just because I'm trying to get some big loans. And I don't want to go to the same bank and say, hey, I can't pay you this $3,000 or $4,000 for this mortgage, but I want you to give me a mortgage that's going to be $8,000 to $10,000 a month. It just doesn't make sense to me. So if they're paying me and I'm still paying, then the relationship grows and goes.
Right. Somebody, my assistant had to go check on the heathens. They're up there acting crazy. Somebody asked, how many contractors have you gone through? I would say not a lot, but I'll let you answer it. And another question was, what is the minimum a person may spend to do a complete rehab in Philly? And I feel like it depends on the scope of the work.
Yeah, that 100% depends on the scope of work. I'm not sure what the minimum is. I think, like, if I went back and said on 1,000 square foot rehab, I used to spend 50. That's no longer the case. I'm probably spending 60, 70 now. That project down on Newkirk Street was a small project. It was 900 and some change square feet. We spent 90 grand. Right. So it all depends on the scope of work. It depends on what needs to be done. So there is no one thing or one number for every single project.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
How many people have I fired? I haven't fired a bunch of people. I'd say that I probably fired 5 or 6 trades in the 10 or 11 years that I've actually been managing projects on my own.
Yeah, remember that one time you fired that man and he walked up all up on me? I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, anybody can get it. So the big thing about me firing people is that I'm definitely not trying to fire people just for the hell of it. I think, unfortunately, for people and in business, I fire you when I find the problem. So I'm not waiting to say, hey, L, I want to talk to you later so that I can let you go. I really don't care. When you make the mistake or when you don't get the job done or when you just don't hold up your end of the bargain, I'm going to let you go. And it's not a loud fight, and we're not going to fuss and go back and forth, but it's just reality that says, listen, I like what you did in the past. What worked then doesn't work now, and we're just going to go our separate ways. To me, it doesn't really matter who it is, because I'll fire anyone that's not doing a job or that I feel like is bringing down the morale of my overall team. So, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. But I don't really have to fire a bunch of people, because everyone who comes to me, they kind of know from the conversation up front, this is what I want. This is where I want you to be. This is what I'm looking for. And if you can't do it, it's fine. We can work together on another project, or I can recommend you go in a different direction. But on every single project, I got the same attitude. I want it done. I want it done in the time frame that you said. I really don't care. And I'm sorry to say it, I really don't care what's going on with your family. I don't care what's going on with any of that. But your other projects don't fucking matter to me. I hired you to do a job, no different than if you hired me to finish your house. I can't say, well, my fiance is pregnant, so I'm going to take 2 months off. Like, you ain't going to go for that. So what I want done is what you said you could do. And if there's some extraneous circumstances, of course, I'll understand. But you got to let me know. I also don't like people that don't answer the phone. Automatic fire. I can't get in touch with you for days. 100%. When I do get in touch with you, you're either already replaced or you're fired right away.
I can vouch for that. He's a bit of a hard ass.
Well, the reality is, how do we get things done, and how do you improve your efficiency and your effectiveness if you allow people to do the same thing over and over and over again? So right. Me and Bruce used to have this like good cop, bad cop thing, but then it's just like he started saying, fuck it, well, I'm just firing everybody too. So now we're at a point where it's like, listen, I like a lot of these guys. I truly do, but I don't work with them anymore. Some of us still talk.
Right.
I just won't work with them. So right. When I went to West Philly, I think I fired 5 people out there. So I definitely fired more than 5 people now thinking about it. In my flip business, not so many, like probably 3 or 4 people. But when I was doing some government contracting, I fired like 5 people out there.
Right. Yes, Chris Johnson, 24/7 Design Group. Yes, Daren will call you and expect you to stop what you're doing and come. L, what you doing? Come on, come with me. Now that I'm super duper busy, we can't do our little things anymore. But Daren will call you at any time, and when he wants something, he wants something. But
real quick, before you leave this, segue that to how fast does everyone get paid? Ain't nobody waiting for no checks either. When they request a check, 10, 20 minutes later, if it's by email or the next day, if I got to give it to you, everybody's getting paid. So when someone sends me an invoice and they want it paid right away, when I send a request, I want it answered right away. Simply how it is.
I can dig that.
Well, okay.
I can dig it.
Okay. So let me just, but I feel like, damn, it's 7:40 already. All right, so I'll wait to say this because I want to get into, you have G2, so that's your second mixed use building, new construction, and during the process, a little bit early on during the process, it was vandalized, and somebody put on the front of the building. What did it say?
On the front of my building, it said, when gentrification stops, so will I.
Right.
I thought that was bullshit.
Right. So let me finish. So then it comes out, you did a little, investigative work, and we talked about that. And I asked you, I said, Daren, do you think that the person who put that on your building, do you think the person thought you were black? And you said, I don't think he probably thought I was black. And then my question, I don't know if I asked you this, but I'm gonna ask you now. Do you think if the person knew you were black, they would have still put that on the building?
So I don't think that they knew I was black. 100% I don't think they knew I was black, but maybe they had an inkling, because what they did to other people's properties in the area and what they did to mine were different, right? Mm-hmm. So in the air, this is me thinking back on it. At the time that we had the conversation when it initially happened, absolutely, I was like, I don't think that they knew I'm black. I don't think they knew anything. But of course, hindsight is 2020. So when I look at the project that they vandalized on Washington Avenue, they spray painted on their door, they spray painted on their building. Then up the street on Germantown Avenue, I'm on the 6200 block, on the 6300 block, they vandalized and spray painted their building as well. But on my building, they put a piece of paper with the picture and taped it to the glass.
Right.
So it's like maybe they knew I was black, and maybe that's why they didn't go so hard. But at the same time, I'm in a mindset like, nah, they didn't really know that I was black, or they don't understand gentrification or what it is and how it works.
So what is it and how does it work? And you have to do this quickly because we have other things to get to.
I mean, I think in a nutshell, most people think that gentrification is like black out, white in, which isn't the case. Gentrification is typically a change in class system. So lower class to middle class, or middle class to upper class. And in that change in class system comes with a lot of different things. It comes with a change in the tax structure. The tax structure typically changes. The mortgage amounts in the area start to change. The overall values begin to change. And then with all of those changes, a lot of times it changes the social fabric of a community. So if you can imagine Germantown being, a predominantly black, and I don't even know that it's predominantly black, but let's just go with it's a impoverished neighborhood, right? So if you go with Germantown being a neighborhood that's in poverty, and then you start to bring in middle class and upper class folk, then those impoverished people, or the people that are living below the line, they start to be pushed out. And they are what Germantown was made of for hundreds of years. So that being the case, they start to be replaced by implants from different parts of the city, from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and then it starts to push them out. So it changes the social dynamic, and the overall health of the community starts to change as well. So am I against it? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm definitely a proponent for gentrification. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's a white out, a white in and a black out thing. It's definitely one of those things where we're just trying to get people who can afford to live in a place, a decent place to live, right? And because we're building these new buildings, we can't build them for free. We're not building buildings for $50,000 and $60,000. We're building buildings for $400,000, $600,000, $700,000. The project we're working on coming soon is going to be far higher than that.
Right.
We get these buildings paid for.
Right.
You can't build a building, put people in them that at lower rents or lower incomes, and just pay the mortgage myself. I'm not in it right now for charity. I'm in it for the overall growth, wealth aspect. And as an individual, I want to grow wealth, but as a community and as a community developer, I want to bring what I think to be an awesome place, Germantown in the Northwest, into the next century.
Right. All right. So with that being said, how important are relationships with politicians when it comes to, being a developer?
Man, I think that relationships with politicians are extremely important. Unfortunately for me, I don't have a great relationship with the politicians in my community, but I definitely think that it's important, because when you're looking to build and you're looking to do community development, it helps if you have someone who's on your side.
Right.
A long time ago, I was sat down by two of the politicians in Germantown and say, hey, we want an African-American developer. We need more black people developing in Germantown. And they got me very excited about it, because I was already excited about Germantown in the Northwest, but they got me really excited and really amped up as to what we could do or what we could accomplish together. So I was on board. So I started to canvass the area. I started to go after the city-owned properties. I started to do a lot of different things that I thought were in the greater interest of Germantown, only to find out later that, they're politicians, and a lot of it was a pipe dream. A lot of it was, yeah, we want you to be here, but we want you to be here under our thumb. We want you to be here and kiss our rings, where that's not typically, or that not even typically, that's not who I am at all. I'm an individual. I want to find my own success. I've been working hard as hell to do that. And at the same time, I want to build what I think to be an awesome community. And it's not because, you know, I came from all of this money and I'm just coming back and giving back. Like, I came from the mud. So I understand what it's like to not have. I understand what it's like to claw from the bottom and get to where I am today, which I still feel is nowhere. So I think we have a long way to go, but politicians, they're thinking about the community at large, but 98.9% of the time, they're just thinking about a vote.
Right.
So they don't want to disturb what's going on. They don't want to disturb the neighbors and say, hey, you guys really need this in your community for it to thrive. You need small businesses. You need more apartments. The zoning code, it's geared toward density. So if the zoning code calls for density, and then you don't want me to bring apartments, you don't want me to bring more people, you don't want me to bring, you know, more expensive housing to get the people like you and I to come in and buy the expensive housing to change the community a little bit. I don't know what the hell they want. So I don't have a great relationship. It is important to have a relationship. I think that a lot of things that I've done in the area, they know who I am. And I think that's as much as I can give you on political relationships. But yes, it's important. If you could be on the good side of a politician, awesome. If you can't, then do everything by right, because getting a variance is going to be a bitch.
Right. So what are you currently working on? Well, you know what I mean. What's an active project? Just about active project with the pandemic.
Well, we got a couple active projects. Right now, we're finishing up a home renovation and a flip on Oak Lane Road in Elkins Park. It's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath flip that we're doing that may go under contract prior to hitting the market. We got a 3-unit on in Germantown on Tacoma Street that's coming soon. We're through framing. We got some make-safe issues to handle, but they're getting taken care of now. So about 45 days we'll be out of that project. We got a 12-unit. It's going to be 10 apartments plus 2 commercial on Germantown Avenue coming soon. We're kind of pushing the needle on that. We got a 5-unit on Lehigh Avenue. It's going to be 4 apartments plus an event space that we're going to self-manage and own for the long term. And we're looking at some other projects that we can get our hands on, but we're really trying to push everything forward. So, I mean, this year we're going to bring 22 or 23 new units to the market. And I mean, if it's up to me, it'll be a lot more. I've also got some small projects that are like personal projects. We're going to bring 6 more units to the Tioga area, the Tioga section, where I've got some rentals already. So we're moving and pushing a lot of things forward. But with the pandemic, a lot of the large acquisitions and things like that are going to slow down, just because we got to be safe. But we've got a decent amount of inventory coming out. We're still pushing. We're still growing. We're still trying to make everything happen.
Right. So let me just ask you this, and you have to be honest really quick before I get into the quick fire. Okay? We're just saying. We're just saying.
Just saying.
Do you see inspiration in our projects and other people's projects? I'm just asking.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I watch, I mean, everybody that I know that I follow on Instagram, I watch a lot of different things. And I see inspiration in the Orange Door. I think that I didn't get the Orange Door from like Philadelphia because I didn't see it anywhere. So it was
Right.
like, I can go with the orange, because if I saw it in Philly, maybe I would have went with blue. Like, I would have done something different. So I see orange doors popping up everywhere. I see a lot of like coordinating, like black doors, black hinges, black knobs. I see a lot of that. I see a lot of the same design patterns. I see a lot of the stuff that we've been successful with, where people are following it.
Somebody said, "Hell yeah, I'm screenshot bull."
I mean, that's Reek. No, but I see a lot of inspiration, but I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I steal from other people too. Like,
yeah, we all inspired. Yeah.
The only issue is when you say you didn't. It's
Right.
like nothing wrong with taking from a project. And Reek said he screenshot bull, but I take stuff from Reek. I take stuff from Doug. I take a ton of stuff from Mahari, the stuff that I can afford to take from Mahari.
Yeah.
I get ideas from a lot of different people, but I'm okay saying I took these ideas from these people. My buddy Var, he got a ton of stuff going on. And if you don't get an idea from him or take something from him, you're just not paying attention. Right. So there's a lot of people that you can draw inspiration from, but I definitely see a lot of people drawing inspiration from the things that you and I have done. They're just not knitting it.
Right, especially at the price points, because I feel like, yeah, you know, with some of these, you know, 300K and up, yeah, certain things you're going to expect, but like for the price points and the things that we've done, I haven't seen it until we've done, like with Gilbert Street. Nobody was waterfalling in our community of real estate price points until we did it.
Yeah, not that price point, because I mean, it's an expensive purchase when you're at 215,000 and you're putting $6,000 in fucking quartz into a property. Like, it just, if I wasn't going to live there, like, it really doesn't make sense. But then we started working with a great person that could actually give us a decent price point on the waterfall quartz and a little bit of extra granite. And it was like, listen, we just going to go balls to the wall with it. So now at 200, 275, it makes sense. Let's just do it and give people what they truly want. But the other thing is, if we can make a little less money, it's not like we're doing 80 and we're going down to 50 with a waterfall.
Right.
But for a couple $1,000s, like, I'll give them a waterfall and we'll sell quicker. So now we're selling in, like I said, 2 weeks. Our property's off the market. So this next property, I'm hoping that it doesn't even go on the market. But it'll be great if it doesn't, because we already have people that are interested. We have people driving by the property interested in it since we've been working on it. So we'll take a little less money and we'll make what we make. But overall, I definitely see people that are interested, or I don't want to say copycats, but people that are we're inspiring for sure.
Right. Well, I just want to say I want to thank myself first, okay, and thank you for, you know, finally trusting me, and, you know, for the most part, when I not I want to say tell you, but when I highly recommend you to do something,
when you tell me to do it, okay, it's cool.
Okay, thank you for doing it. You know, I feel like we both have elevated each other's business, so, you know, I appreciate that.
I agree 100%. I appreciate.
Wait a minute.
Now Teddy done froze. Come on, Teddy.
Hold on. I almost had to Teddy. I almost had to go fix the fire. Something. I'm gonna walk away real quick.
All right, come on. So it's 7:53. So I do somebody said they love the lives. I do them every Monday. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm trying to give us something for quarantine, and maybe you can get a little nugget out of it during the time. So quick fire. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Toilet paper, over, under?
Over. It's all you're doing is wiping your ass with it. Who cares?
I care.
Over.
I go in people's house and switch it when I go to the bathroom.
Don't touch my fucking toilet paper. Right now, it's a pandemic. Don't go in here and fucking just touch it what you want to touch, okay?
Lovely.
If you put this fucking glass up one more time.
Okay, texting or talking?
Texting.
Celebrity crush?
Do I have a celebrity crush? I don't know if I have a celebrity crush.
Where's Birdie? Birdie's probably looking at you like.
I like Angela Simmons a lot.
Oh yeah, you do like Angela Simmons. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Say one word in Spanish.
Como.
Como.
Hola.
What?
Como.
What do you mean? What do I eat?
Liddy said, "Is that what your workers say to you?" Como.
A lot of times.
Who has it easier? This was for you. I thought about this for you because we debate about this. Who has it easier, men or women?
Men.
Good answer.
I think men.
You're lying, but okay.
No, fucking women definitely have it easier. But I'm just gonna go with men because I don't know that there's an easier. I'm gonna go with men, but I think that women have it easy in certain circumstances. I definitely have it easy in a lot of different things here, but I also think that Birdie has it easy in some ways as well.
Okay. All right. The most expensive thing you've ever purchased?
A house.
Okay.
Aside from a house and a car or an engagement ring.
Your house. Your house, I would say. Best place to party between the two cities, Atlanta or DC?
DC.
At what age do you want to retire?
45. I think
40.
I want to push it to 50, but 45 I want to retire. I don't think that I'll ever stop investing, but in terms of like going to job sites, doing all the stuff that I do now, 45 I'd like to not do it anymore.
Daren, so what will you do after that?
Travel. Maybe I'm going to have some kids to take care of. I don't know. Fucking hang with them. Anything.
We'll see. You don't know. You can't sit. Okay. What's the best age? Just what's the best age? What's the best age you think?
30.
Would you want to live forever?